Body movement intelligence. Athleticism requires exceptional coordination and grace along with unmatched mental game and competitiveness. Like Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, who didn't just play, but literally reinvented basketball. This athletic genius dropped out of his school's basketball team. He is a person who combined his innate skills with diligence to master the art of movement. Some people were born to move. Check the list below to see how many of the following general characteristics match you. If at least 4, there is a good chance you are with this intelligence. You're good at sports. You can dance well. You learn by doing. You talk and work with your hands. You're interested in acting. You like to build things. You're well coordinated and have good motor skills. You can't sit still for too long. People forget things easily. Just try to remember what you did last Wednesday, but maybe you never forget biking. There's this saying about everything related to motion, it's like riding a bike, once you've learned it you never forget. This is what we call kinesthetic memory. In other words, the procedure to learn and remember things through motion. But even in kinesthetic learning there are dialects. People have different memory systems and based on these differences they learn through different types of motions. There are some things, which you remember short-term, however there are different techniques to plant these newly learned things into your long-term memory. 1. Whole body learning. People gifted with this dialect of movement intelligence learn the best and quickest if they use their whole body actively. They can bring out the most of their potential by role-playing, doing puzzles, body mappings, using computer technology, YouTube for example, to learn certain movements, or computer accessory tools that require movements like a wheel to need for speed. Regardless of whether you want to act, be a long-distance runner, or be a first-class computer game player, you need your body and mind to be synchronized. Repetition is the key to learning something and moving it to your long-term memory. 2. Doodlers. If whole-body learners are on one side of the coin, doodlers are on the other. Doodlers have very high motion intelligence as well, but they learn by designing things. The best way for them to learn and retain something in long-term memory is to mind map, draw, story map, etc. If whole-body learners are the players on the field, the doodler is the coach. Doodlers are exceptionally good at creating strategies that are applicable to motion. You don't have to picture them as football coaches, but dance choreographers, architects, and physical therapists. 3. Hands-on learners. There are those people who are not afraid of heavy physical work, they may even enjoy it. They can be talented mechanics, successful bodybuilders, good craftsmen, or even firefighters. The best way to retain learning related to body movement is to role-play, use clay, build, and do every type of exercise that requires heavy manual work. If you feel talented in this regard, you can maximize your potential by exploring all the possibilities of your profession. Develop your manual dexterity. If you are a good mechanic, read about new technologies and try to implement them. If you find something useful for your job, set aside 1 hour every day to practice that one thing until you can do it easily, until it becomes a subconscious reflex for you. It can also help if you try out totally new things. Start learning to play the piano, paint, or weave. We have to make an important distinction between gross motor skills and fine motor skills. The former is responsible for big range motions using our arms, legs, and body. Almost everybody has an innate ability to acquire gross motor skills usually in early childhood. We learn to walk, run, stand up, and climb stairs, and, eventually, biking to stick with the previous example. Gross motor skills are those we won't forget easily. Fine motor skills are used in more delicate motions that involve our hands, fingers, feet, and toes. These motions can range from learning how to pick up a fork to drawing a picture like Michelangelo's The Last Judgment. Gross and fine motor skills combine to be responsible for coordination. So good news, if you're talented with kinesthetic intelligence, with practice you can master sculpture just as you've mastered eating with a fork and a knife. It's not something you can learn overnight, but with practice you have a good chance of being pretty good. How do we motivate people with kinesthetic intelligence? Most of them are competitive, full of energy and possess a strong desire to create. So the best way to keep them motivated is to appoint new challenges for them, long and short-term ones. When they complete a challenge, they have to feel they improved by doing it. They learned and made a step forward. It is also important to give a clear explanation of the consequences if a task is not done well or if it is overdone. Some people tend to overdo things. They are called hyperactive, although I really hate this word. I think lazy people invented the term because they were envious of their energy. This is a non-scientific explanation from a person who has often been labeled hyperactive. Don't give it much credit. No more jokes, back to the science. Hyperactive people tend to overdo things. They need a different kind of motivation than normal or less motivated people. They need regular monitoring, clear directions, and clear boundaries wherein they can act freely. And if the task is successfully completed, these people should be rewarded. If the task is not properly completed or the expectations aren't met this time, the worst thing one can do is to punish. On one hand, it is counterintuitive. If people try and fail and then get scolded, it's very possible they won't even try the next time. You won't get the desired result if you punish. Studies show that animals learn things much quicker and retain the knowledge for longer when they are offered more treats than punishment. This is also true if you motivate yourself. Reward yourself when you complete a task. A small task earns a small reward, and a big task earns a big reward. Punishment should be avoided. This rule applies for all types of intelligence, not only kinesthetic. For more videos, please subscribe our channel.